Kagurabachi. And with that, I'm going to leave this one to Josh.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Kagurabachi, chapter number 70, EA White Purity style. So, just a little recap of last week. We didn't get to cover it, but in chapter 69, hey, the Masumi, which is the three-man ninja group that's helping Chihiro out, were engaged in a massive brawl with all of the mercenary forces and plus Kuguri of the Hishaku on the roof where the seal is, the seal that the Masumi's creating to help Iori either forget all her memories and I guess make it stronger so it doesn't crack, right? We get a spotlight on a character named Ikura, one of Iori's classmates that witnessed the attempted kidnapping earlier. He makes his way to the hotel and runs into Chihiro, who tasks Ikura with bringing a key that unlocks the power source necessary to make the memory seal work. Ikura was a loner that was often ostracized by his peers, his fellow classmates. But Iori was cool with him, and they sat next to each other. And had like a genuine friendship, which obviously was a big deal just to an antisocial guy like Ikura. So Ikura resolves to help Chihiro to save Iori in the face of abundant violence and heads to the roof as Chihiro continued his canon event fight versus Hirohiko, the Free Fiend. On the rooftop, Iori had her head scrambled thinking about how this is a lose-lose situation to either remember her dad's drama or forget and try to live a peaceful life knowing that people are getting hurt because of her identity. Through Iori's personal crisis and the battle royale amongst them, she hears Ikura yell, "I need you at school," after he finally makes it to the roof, which somehow breaks the last blocks on Iori's memory, allowing her to awaken as a skilled swordsman, the true daughter of Samura, which leads us to chapter 70. We cut back to Chihiro and Hirohiko, having a standoff. They're, I guess, on one of the lower floors. And yeah, they get to fighting immediately, and we get a little informational session about like the EA Purity style, like how it was invented and what its purpose is, and it's all about speed. Like they broke down before, like you want to store your spirit energy out and unleash it with rapid force, but there's an actual like a physical technique to it that has to be mastered. That's really hard. The main issue is surrounding it is that like the motion to draw the blade slows down the speed of the slash itself. So the trick is getting that motion down to be fluid enough for it to be really fast. And we know it's possible because other characters have achieved it, like Samura, the Crow Master. Also, the other swordsman that got killed. I keep forgetting their name.
Shoot. Dang, what's his name?
Sengoku?
No. The other enchanted swordsman. Uruha. Right?
Uruha. Yeah. So anyway, back to this fight with Hirohiko and Chihiko. And Hirohiko and Chihiro. Goddamn, that's tough. He starts to analyze Hirohiko's style a little bit more. And he's able to keep up with Hirohiko's invisible slashes or whatever. And he basically compares him to like a wild animal. How like, he thinks about how when he was 3 years old, like he killed somebody for the first time. He bit to death a full-grown man who was assaulting him. Wow. That's rough, bro.
Whoa.
Yeah, so he's like an animal, essentially. The way an animal doesn't train its skills, it just kind of has that raw like ability. That's what Hirohiko's like. Um, but Chihiro, acknowledges that he's also special. He's got his trait where he can see a move and replicate it. So, he's talented himself. So he tries to prepare his EA style move, and here he goes like talking that shit, saying, "Oh, you're doing that concept thing again. You guys are idiots." All this tradition stuff is a load of crap. And then after talking all that shit, Hirohiko tries to stun on him and replicate the same style of moves. Like, oh, is this supposed to be like this? And Chihiro
He did it
recognizes
first
that.
try too.
Yeah, like just off of pure spite and pettiness. That's crazy, man. So it stuns Chihiro because he wasn't really ready for it, although he does parry with his sword. Puts him to the ground, and Hirohiko's like, all right, well, my real job is to catch the girl, so peace out. I'm heading on the elevator up. So Chihiro heads on a different elevator, and they're both going up at the same time. It's pretty sick page, actually, because they're both thinking about, what they learned from that previous clash and how they're going to use it to their advantage when they fight again. As Chihiro's saying to himself, don't panic. We've lived different lives. I have my way. Visualize the method of the regrip of like the sword for the EA style. As Hirohiko thinks, it's like a magic trick. It only works the first time you use it. Speaking of his own like invisible sword technique, things would have been easy if I could have taken out an arm, but it won't work on him now. Yeah, man, you can't cheese him. And he's like, I get the gist. To kill this guy, I need overwhelming speed, not trickery. So the elevators they both reach the top floor at the same time. And as the elevator doors open up, they both are charging up their EA style to like clash at each other. And as they start rushing in, they look to the chaos happening on the rooftop. And Chihiro, for like a flash second, peeps Iori going fucking crazy, which like, I don't understand how he didn't lose his focus, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. I mean, her style's so nice. She's cutting people's fingers off and like incapacitating people, in a non-lethal way. And the way she's like gliding her sword around basically inspires Chihiro to like how to use the regrip like properly for the EA White Purity style. So the quick example he caught of her in that one fleeting moment helped it become crystal clear for him as he slashes through Hirohiko, and I think he lost a limb. No, he didn't. But yeah, he beat Hirohiko as he sheathes his sword, and he looks over towards Iori, and he says, and then she knows everything. As I guess all her memories finally come rushing to her. What a chapter. That's the end of it. Brian, what are your thoughts?
God, this was so good. So I finally figured out the word to describe Hokazono's writing style.
Hokazono?
And yeah, that's the name of the mangaka, right? Is it Hokazono?
Well, you said it really good.
So I think he is legit the best non-linear storyteller I've ever seen. Like consistently throughout this arc, especially, he has been in his fucking bag when it comes to non-linear storytelling. Every chapter has a fragment of a flashback or is setting up and the next chapter, or the next chapter setting up the next chapter. It's just everything is just always being put into place, and then he uses the past to give further context to things that are about to happen. It's honestly like incredible how he uses the time between like the time that you don't see to his advantage. Like them talking, like them using that time to like talk about the style that Chihiro was trying to learn, like Mini Masumi Man. Yeah, and Mini Masumi Man, like those two pulling aside and talking about it too. It's just like it all makes sense, right? That these conversations would have happened within a certain period of time, right? It's just the time that he chooses to display these conversations flows so well with the story almost every time. Like the lead up with this, when they were fighting in the streets and stuff, and he just knows how to like get the most out of flashbacks, whether it's in short bursts, long bursts, whether it's like an exposition on like the founders of styles like they did in this chapter. It's just, man, this guy just does it so effortlessly well that you don't even like, it just really makes you immersed into the story. Like you just want to read every fucking page and every word because it feels like it all matters all the time. And it's so good. Like I can't pry my fucking eyes off of the fucking chapter until I'm done reading it. And that is such a unique thing to have as a creator, like in general. And I think I praise this guy every fucking week. Everybody knows it. Like I can't give this guy even like more flowers. Like he's just that fucking good. But yeah, like if One Piece wasn't One Piece, this would have been my RGC. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, this was my RGC until very recently, but it was such a close second. I really like this chapter a lot, for all the reasons that Brian said, but also, you know, just, I mean, I love a good action chapter, and he's just been killing it in terms of the action, and I love how specifically Hokuzono writes action. And he's such a good artist, and it's just a spectacle. You know, it is so great. I didn't get a chance to talk about Iori Awakening, which is interesting. It was a twist I definitely didn't see coming. You know, I suppose that she wouldn't really even have this. I guess like I did theorize that at some point she might be like a fighting force at some point. I didn't think that she would just immediately be good at this shit. So that
Yeah,
like she's
that
a
was great.
non-lethal combatant too, because every attack that she did is like a more of a neutralization than a kill.
Yeah, I mean, she cut off these guys' fingers.
She cut off fingers. She's
Yeah, she got a unique style.
which arguably takes way more skill than what Chihiro does.
Yeah. But yeah, she's just got, I guess, a natural penchant for it because her daughter is Samura. So her father is Samura. So yeah, I'm really into this chapter. I like that this kid came back from the beginning of the arc.
Yeah, you actually mentioned it like a while ago.
Yeah, I was hoping that he would come back, but I didn't actually expect him to be important. So, you know, I called it. I'm going to take credit for that one. I have to think that Samura is going to come into this picture at some point because the lock is broken. So if her memories are back, then I think it stands to reason that Samura's memories will come back. So he's going to use that owl and be like, there you are, and come right over and say, what's up? And I feel like Iori is going to reject him. Like she's not going to go with him because she wants to go back to school. and maybe they do reestablish the seal and all that, or maybe she even rejects the seal and still goes back to school, because she knows that people will be after her at some point, and she maybe wants to keep the ability. I don't know. But yeah, I thought this chapter was fantastic. And man, Hirohiko's taking L after L against Chihiro. He's just this is like he's like 0-2 against Chihiro.
I mean, he's not done yet.
Yeah, they'll probably heal him again after this, but he broke his sword.
Yeah, so when has that ever stopped him?
I guess
this guy's a lunatic.
I feel like Samura's gonna come in and it's gonna force him to retreat. Because he's not trying to fight Samura right now. But yeah, overall, really cool chapter. I'm excited for next week, as per usual. Do we have any? Oh, Josh, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I guess so. This is my RGC.
Hey, it's at least one of us.
Certified RGC.
So hold on.
Certified RGC. Certified RGC.
Yeah, man, this was a really dope chapter for more reasons than one. First of all, did we have RGCs already for any other chapters?
Brian gave it to One Piece.
Right, and you haven't yet
No, I haven't
for
yet.
anything. Okay. So, yeah, I want you guys to just scroll through the pages of the chapter from beginning to end. And, I think sometimes, as weird as it sounds, like when I'm reading manga, I appreciate artwork all the time, but sometimes I appreciate it after the fact. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be so into the story of a series and like the details and stuff that like it'll take like a second read or even a third look at the pages to really appreciate, like, oh man, like this was done well, et cetera, et cetera. With Kagurabachi, it happens immediately. Just through the panels, through the setup of the panels, what he chooses to incorporate in one page, it just feels like so much thought is put into the style of it, how the series appears. Like, he makes sure to put his story within this artistic frame, and I feel like you see it happen the most in these in the scenes with action, and it manifests in the best way when you have this action mixed in with I guess like dialogue. I mean, even the dialogue in the beginning of the guy talking about the origins of the EA style, it wasn't boring. You know what I mean? It looked cool. It's like a little instructional manual and some old guy talking that shit. I mean, he was like, man, he's like, all them guys that was saying I couldn't do that style, none of them niggas lasted because I cut them all down. Like, that was cool, man. You know what I mean? He had a little bit of fun, and then we got straight into the action with Hirohiko, and it was a pretty quick clash, but it was still like deep. They had a fight and then had a moment to take a breather, like between rounds, almost like in a boxing match where you go to your corners and you get to think like, all right, I was falling for those feints a lot, or he was catching me with his left a little too much. Let me give me some more space, or you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was cool how they broke down what they was gonna do next. Hirohiko, he is like one of my favorite adversaries in recently in manga, because he's this annoying, cocky guy, but he's not like unbearable.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to see him, like, all right, I do kind of want to see him get smoked sometimes, but I want to see him lose and then come back and see how he grows and gets stronger. I'm invested in him as a character now, and it's really cool. All right, Iori. So I want to clarify this. I think it's clear that when the seal, if Iori decides to go through with the seal, she's not going to remember any of that what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So she's not going to be thinking about the lives lost. However, she is thinking about that decision. I think that's kind of like the framing of it, that like, you know, if she does make that decision, she knows right now in this moment that she's turning her back on all these, like she's turning a blind eye to all of this suffering because of her, and that doesn't sit right with her in the moment, and that's what was making her so apprehensive. So you know, and I guess in the chaos of everything going on and her classmate yelling out to her, it was like her memories unlocked so she could protect herself and her classmate. It was, I don't know, it was crazy. It was, I don't know what else to really say about that, but it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It was just cool. It was cool. I did not see that coming, and that's not like an unusual trope or nothing like that. But it makes sense, you know, her memories of her skills. It makes sense that he trained his daughter to be a swordsman. So anyway, awesome chapter.
Yeah, definitely.